everybody, welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here and Jack Kinnett. All the lights are currently lit here on track, and it is go, go, go! Donoso with a crafty manoeuvre up the inside. Masterclass from the Chilean.
Crucial championship points on offer here.
Do not count down Danny Berezne.
Longe has done the job. This is for the win between these two.
Freddie Rasmussen wins the United States Grand Prix.
Alfie Butcher win for the first time ever. Lucas Blakely takes the championship. It's Barry Boyman.
Jarno Opmeer is your champion.
Good evening everyone and welcome back to PSGL. It is time for round 3 of the PCF3 tier and we're heading over to the mighty Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. My name is Corey Brooks, one of your two commentators for this evening. Join with me in the booth, it is the mighty Orme. How are we tonight, my friend?
Thank you very much, Corey. Great to have you back and great to have all of the viewers back with us as we get to another chapter of this incredible PSGL season going as well. We're getting ready for Spa, and we basically come into this with two questions. We mentioned it at the end of last broadcast as well. First of all, are we going to be able to get 3 out of 3 in terms of drag races to the line, as the first two races have both went all the way right to the checkered flag? And number 2, can anyone stop the Tony Hitala Express after he was able to win the opening round after penalties and won it right at the line as well last time out in Sao Paulo?
Absolutely. Hitala looking very, very strong here after taking 2 victories in a row. Could be looking to confirm that 3 in a row, which could be absolute perfection to the start of his season this time around. Only 9 rounds of this calendar, but as we take a quick look at the calendar, you can see what is yet to come. We'll get ourselves ready for the mighty Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium for round 3, and round 4 being China. So is there any driver here particularly that is stronger in that circuit, somebody who can pull some pace and potentially get ahead of what has been 2 in a row for Hitala? And then it's on to one of the, well, if not the quickest, so it is the quickest lap time in the calendar, Austria. Sort of qualifying times we could see as low as the 1 minute 2.9s if they can just pull it out. You see the 3s all the time, the 4s in time trial. Could they do it in qualifying? Not many corners to navigate though before we have our mid-season break. So in the first season, it's already halfway through in the first half of the season. How are you feeling about it so far, Romy?
Really have enjoyed it, and I think the racing elements this season have been absolutely phenomenal. I think I also would like to touch on the attendance. The drivers have made such a great effort this season in particular, especially when we're getting nearer to the end of this game cycle. You would usually expect the opposite, but the attendance levels this season have been absolutely brilliant, and it's great to see the drivers coming here week in, week out, where loads of reserves aren't getting their opportunity just due to how good the full-time drivers are with their attendance. We hope that that will continue throughout the season, and we can end off this game cycle on a high before moving on to F1 25. So this season has been absolutely brilliant, even though you've had Tony Hitala win the opening 2 races. It's been races with different contenders as well. We were mentioning this, I was mentioning it earlier to Corey before we went on air. You've had different drivers all the time battling with Tony Hitala. So the races have always been tense, it's always been exciting, but it's about being consistent, and that is what is keeping Tony Atala right now at the front, and that's why he's got a 19-point gap. And if he's always the driver who's in the fight, and you have different rivals up against him every round, he's the driver who'll just continue extending the advantage, and he can just get himself up to the title. He doesn't always need to be winning races, but it is quite impressive to have a 19-point gap when we move on to round number 3.
Absolutely, and speaking of round number 3, you can see it on your screen. Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium, 7 kilometres long, the longest circuit on the calendar, with 3 DRS-aided zones and 19 turns, 10 to the left and 9 to the right, so balances out a little bit in terms of tyre degradation, and just on the number of corners that you need to navigate along this long circuit. Lap times in the 1:40 with just how long the circuit actually goes on for. Well, the Camel Straight is 1 kilometre in length, and certainly opens the door for 3-car wide, 4-car wide moments coming down into Le Combes. But don't forget about Blanchimont, the slipstream. You don't have the DRS, but it is mighty powerful in this game cycle. So coming up to bus stop, you could see some late lunges, last minute dives on the last lap for what could be desperate moves to get themselves the race victory here in Spa. But of course, everybody loves Eau Rouge and Radillon, so that's something that I'm excited to see the drivers go up. If you can get that run out of turn 1, out of La Source, and get right up behind in the slipstream, you can really set yourself up perfectly for that DRS aid as you come onto the Camel Straight.
Yeah, absolutely. The slingshot you get all the time, gaining when you go through Rouge and Radillon, then onto the Camel Straight towards Le Combes, getting closer and closer with the aid of DRS as well, if it is dry. You get the drivers closing in, and that's where we get to the 3 wides, the 4 wides. But as you mentioned, Blanchimont into the bus stop chicane on the last lap can get close, and we of course asked the question about could we get another drag race to the line, could we make it 3 out of 3? It is a circuit that we have seen it done in the past, where the drivers battle into the bus stop chicane, they both navigate their way through. It could even be 3 drivers, who knows, and then it's a traction race all the way towards the line. The line comes up very quickly here at Spa once you have navigated the 19th and final corner. So we could absolutely get another drag race to the line, but we've still got a lot to go before that. The drivers have to, first of all, try and navigate the longest circuit on the calendar, as you mentioned, Corey, in qualifying across 18 minutes with 1 point on offer for pole.
Absolutely. So that extra point could prove beneficial in terms of championship. You've got to remember that we do have one driver who's won 2 in a row. So the points gap there by 19, as Omi said, it's huge already. It's starting to bridge away. And as you know, you don't get the full 25 points here in PSGL. They are reduced points. So you can't afford to let them get that far ahead. And for Hitala, it's certainly looking that way. Can he pull out what is a much needed podium again tonight here in Spa? But they still have a long way to go. They've got to get through qualifying. There's 22 laps of the race to go. With it being a longer circuit, looks like a few lesser laps than you'd expect, but you've got to remember the lap times are in the 1:40s. It is humongous. So plenty of places to make mistakes, plenty of open opportunities to gain positions and put on for a precious attack that could get you up to the finishing line in first, or if not, just a podium at best, but you'll still be on the top steps.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we consider the length of the lap in qualifying as well, that also means you still get the 18 minutes. You get that at Austria, you get that at any other circuit that we go to. So the drivers have a longer lap to navigate, meaning mistakes get punished more as well if they aren't able to deliver the lap. So a little bit more pressure in that, where you have a limited time out there when you are driving around, and if there is mistakes, then you aren't able to get the runs in that you need, that you possibly could do around other circuits. So loads of things to consider for the race. Loads of things to consider for qualifying, and who knows, there could even be some rain at Spa. There is always that chance that we could get some wet weather. So it's so much unpredictability going into this 3rd round of the season, but it is very clear that it's going to be competitive. It's going to be exciting as we are just waiting to get started. We appreciate everyone sticking with us so far here on the broadcast, and we can tell you that we'll be able to bring you the qualifying very, very shortly.
Yeah, we do apologise for this delay. We're just waiting for some drivers to, I think, get themselves in the lobby. May having a couple of issues though, because we are only 18 so far in the lobby, waiting for everybody to get themselves readied up. So we are just caught of prolonging the intro a little bit longer than we'd like to, just waffling on a little bit, giving you some track knowledge and insight on what is yet to come here for these 22 laps of Belgium. But of course, we do have that 18 minutes of qualifying. So I'm interested to see where the benchmark pace is going to be. What driver is going to be stronger? You know, these tracks are very dependent for some of the drivers. Some of them can find that extra 10th, extra 100th, an extra 1,000th that matters in qualifying pace, if not race pace, that could propel them into victory and set themselves up as we go into round 3. And then you've only got 6 rounds to go, so you need to make sure you stay on the ball, stay on the push, and get yourself going into the season. Get some consistent points, because that is where it matters now. It's only a short season, not many places to do it, so make sure you get it done early on.
Yes, absolutely. You need to get the results in both in qualifying and in the races earlier on this season. Less rounds compared to what we usually have. The shortest season here in recent times, for sure, in PSGL. So getting the results in even more vital. Early on, you have limited rounds to do so. So if you do have a 19-point gap, then you just need to try and continue on with that. That doesn't have to be another win. It can be a third. It can be a second. It can be a fourth. Just being up there, just being consistent, just getting the points that you need. And then you get this situation where you have so many different drivers being competitive along with Tony Hitala, and it means that we find ourselves in a situation where they're all just taking points of each other, and Hitala is loving life at the front. And what makes it more impressive is, of course, that Hitala is doing it with the point system that we have at PSGL, which is, of course, 16, 12, 10, 8, 6, and it continues to go down as we have qualifying underway. Looking a bit cloudy, Mr. Corey Brooks, but dry at this stage.
Absolutely, it is looking like it's a dry qualifying, and yes, Josh is seeing my little giggle, my little smirk and stuff. He's asking, question for you both, have we both had a Red Bull today? I've had a few. If you can tell from the energy though, I'm excited, I'm hyped, let's get going for what is to come in this race. I'm very excited to see in this Spa-Francorchamps Grand Prix. 22 laps they've got to get through yet, Josh, so a lot is still yet to come, and we're only just getting going. So now I'm going to take us trackside so we can take a look at one of the first drivers on the track, being Walter Steg.
Absolutely. On the circuit at this stage in his kick Sauber, navigating his way round this circuit on the outlap, and then he'll be getting on towards the push lap, as will so many of the drivers as well, as they all look to try and improve. And of course, around this circuit, we've already mentioned, with the longer lap, limited time out there in terms of getting the laps in that you need. So the drivers will, of course, have a banker lap set out there, but they will be looking to improve with the Delta, they'll be hoping for it to be going green throughout this lap. But it's a long lap, and also then we have the factor of there is a lot more time to find, and lots of time to find for these drivers. And if any drivers have put in a little bit more preparation compared to others, then definitely it can be seen and visible here today compared to possibly some of the other circuits like Austria.
Absolutely. I'm very excited to see what Wojciech can do out on the terms of bankers. He's going to be the first to set the timed lap. So, with the clouds looking a little grey, could we see some weather on the way? That is what I'm excited to see.
Absolutely, across the line, and to start a lap around this circuit for Wojciech Steg as he makes his way through Les Sources, and then we go uphill towards Rouge and Radion, some of the most famous corners in all of motor racing coming our way, and it's absolutely foot to the floor stuff. And then you get to the top of the hill at Radion, and then the Kemmel Straight, and then you're all focused on getting that braking zone sorted and immediately trying to flick the car right as we go to Le Camp.
Absolutely. Lacombe can be a bit treacherous here as you come on the exit of turn 7. Turn 7 though, because the runoff can come at you, but in this game, it's a little less that you can take. Last game round, there was a lot more to use at your disposal, but here, if you get yourself collected, you'll hit the grass and spin yourself round and get in an unfortunate situation. But he comes down towards Pujon now, flat to the floor, fire it round to the left, the double left-hander before he gets himself down towards campus. Now, this is where you can gain quite a lot of time, but also lose it the right and left-hander can cost you dealing with that gravel trap on the right-hand side coming around turn 13 can cause some certainly unpredictable issues down the line. Everybody's out on the track, so looking to get the lap times in. This is making me question, is rain on the way? Are we going to see some wet weather? Maybe some intermediate conditions coming in the opening minutes in qualifying. Everybody's flat to the floor, getting themselves out there, getting their laps in. And for Wojciech, as he comes through Blanchimont now towards bus stop, he will be the first to cross the line. But is it a time worthy to get himself up there in contention for pole position? It is a 40.8. We do see drivers going into the pits not happy with their laps so far. That's Buba not happy. We see a Ferrari coming towards the line. Leon is not quite up there, off by 2/10. We see a new pole from Tudor Pressican. Linus Donovan comes across the line to take P2. Alexi Cavero as well jumping up to take it away. And Marcel Biego a pole time, 40.641 so far. Everybody else crossing the line. Nobody looking to get to the top spot as of yet. Couple drivers not happy with their laps and going into the pits. Campbell Adams, previous pole sitter, where can he go? He's in the pits. Tony Atala, your championship leader, is only good enough for P2 at the minute, but the time is very, very close. Everybody within a striking distance from P1 down to P11 before you get into that 41 time.
Current championship leader, as you mentioned, Tony Hitala in second, but he's been beaten on run one by Marcel Biego, who is a returning driver to this tier. He finished 8th in the championship last season as well, and currently sits 13th in the standings. He got a points paying position last time out in Brazil with a 12th before that. As we see D-Mouse also now jumping in the lobby. But yes, apologies for that delay that we had earlier on, about the 10-minute delay that we had. It was some drivers having issues, but we did get going, and we are now bringing you this session, which does look close. Longest circuit on the calendar. Still, the margins are going to be close. Still, you're going to see the drivers pushing all the way to the edge, and some will be pushing over the edge. As you can see, we don't have a lap time so far for Buba, Campbell Adams, and loads of the drivers as well would not have been able to find the push that they needed and will be looking to take a step forward on run 2.
I'm currently been on board with Justin Ertz as he's come through Sector 1. We jumped on board. He's now about to finish his Sector 2. He needs to get a time on the table in his V-carb as he's coming out of Stavelot now and flat to the floor towards Blanchimont. Now, this could be a hot spot for overtaking in the Grand Prix, but in qualifying, it's all about battery management to burn it all here in Blanchimont because you don't have a DRS aid, although it would be nice and handy. You are hit with that double left-hander, 16 and 17, before you get to bus stop. 18 and 19 to go. Now trying to get the traction down, push on towards the line, fails to break into the 40s, 41.6 for Justin Ertz.
Oh, for the second round in a row, we're seeing Joey Van Brussel go different. He's just using this as a bit of practice, isn't he? On those hard compound of tyres. That's why he's miles off the pace. He did the exact same thing, Corey, last time out in Brazil as well. He's doing so once again. So now we take a look at the Aston Martin of Buba. He is the highest returning driver this season to this tier, and with that comes quite a lot of pressure. You are trying to be the next one to possibly take the crown off this tier before looking at an F2 promotion going into F1 25. But right now, he's only focused on nailing this 19-turn circuit with the Kemmel Straight coming next up.
Absolutely, he's got that rear wing open, trying to get that top end speed of his Aston Martin before he gets hit with Lacombs and fires it around nicely. But it's a personal best for his Sector 1, although he doesn't have a time on the board. You see the purple come up. Don't be fooled by it as he comes down into Brussels now. Right around the right-hander. It can get treacherous here on your exit before you get yourself set up for the Jackie X turn. Nicely done around turn 9. Flat to the floor now towards Pujon, trying to maximise the speed and then get a little aerodynamic load on the car, firing it round to the right. You don't want to slow it down. You want to maintain all that momentum before you get to campus. Now round to the right, looking very collected in Sector 2. Very squared away. Is he backing out there? He's not indeed. He's flat to the floor, keeping it going. Looked a bit slow from my camera angle, but he's still pushing on towards Stavelot.
He is on the attack. He is looking to complete this lap right now. Slowest of all, he's one of the drivers who hasn't set a time, along with Alexander Dimas, who joined the session late. You have Campbell Adams also looking to get in there, as we mentioned earlier on. He's your pole sitter from Brazil. That crown belonged to Tony Atala in round 1. We're looking to see who he'll go to in round 3. Will Buba be one of the contenders? Not at this stage, as it's a trip back into the pit. Then it'll be under pressure stuff, as we mentioned earlier on, with how long the lap is. You only have 10 minutes to go of the session. Campbell Adams, though, is going to try and get a time on the board. Let's see where it's going to put him. It's going to be to 4th position, with everyone else looking now to respond on their outlap.
Go on board with Alexander Dimas, who is on a timed lap. His first timed lap of the session with 9 minutes of qualifying left to go. Joined the session late, but did manage to get in nonetheless, as he's flat to the floor now around Pujon. Now, I wonder what sort of pace we can get from Alexander Dimas in that Alpine, where he comes through into campus now. Set of corners that can catch you out, especially the gravel trap on the right. Mentioned it earlier, you don't want to run it too wide though, and pick up a little bit of unnecessary stones in that tread. Looking very collected and focused coming through Stavelot, and now it's only Blanchimont. Has he saved enough battery to use it and deploy and get as much speed as possible before he's harsh on the brakes into the bus stop chicane? Really slamming on it, slowing the car down. You see the flashing light on the rear there as he's coming through now. The Ferrari in front moving out of the way on the brakes, fires around to the right, back around to the left, and then quick on the power, trying to get the traction down, flat to the floor. He jumps up just ahead of your previous pole setter, going in 4th position, only 7 thousandths separating the two.
Absolutely, that's a lap. As you mentioned, that's 4th quickest at this stage as all of the drivers get going and attacking around this circuit, as we now see them all make their way to the current order. Biega, Hitala and Pretakan, that is your top 3. Then it's Dimas, Campbell Adams, and then we have Aleski, Cavero, Thomas Laminin, Linus Donovan, Wojciech and T.S. Korsman to take you through your top 10. But that will absolutely not be the case when we end this run. Biega will not be able to improve, as you can see, with the map that he has had an invalidation that time around. So our attention goes to Wojciech as he heads down to the bus stop chicane, and let's see what currently the lead kick Sauber driver can do in the field as he gets his foot down to the floor. Lines coming up very quickly, and he improves to the front row, but misses out by 6 thousandths of a second of beating Marcel Biega.
T.S. Korsman jumps up to P7 there. New pole time from Tudor Presican, jumping up into the lead. We have a VCAP coming back around. That's Justin Ertz. We won't pay our attention to that. Anybody else on a time lap coming down towards the line? I'm trying to look at the map, but the map's a little bit small. Is next, I think, is Felipe Souza to come towards the line. Doesn't, goes into the pits. Not happy with that lap. Haas coming down. Is that Marcel Paps? It's not. It's Oleg Napadovsky who will be putting this lap in. Currently looking like he's 2/10 up on that time, and he is jumping up into 5th position by a 2/10 improvement. Aston Martin's crossing the line. Itala taking another provisional pole position. It's 2 this season if it will hold. It's 2 victories in a row for Itala, and can he make it 3? He's looking strong so far. The benchmark is coming in for the Aston Martin.
Absolutely. Tony Hitala delivering the lap time. Linus Donovan delivering the lap time to take him to 2nd place at the moment. So it was a 40.3 for Presican, and then it is turned into a 40.5 for Donovan, but ahead of them all in the 0.4s for Tony Hitala in the Aston Martin, who really has come alive this season. It's been really, really great to watch as well for the driver that finished 19th in this tier last season. So he's definitely taken a massive step forward, and also has definitely been putting in the preparation, and definitely wants the roll call of champion of season 39 here in PSGL PC F3.
Ah, yes. Hitala looking like it's strong for championship. He certainly took the first two rounds with a little bit of a fight. You know, there's drivers around him. It's not total domination, but here in qualifying, again, he's looking to be one of the faster drivers, more consistent drivers, looking good for race victory. Who else could be going on a lap? I'm trying to get my eyes open. Is that a VCAP crossing the line? Is that Justin Ertz? It is indeed. Is this a push lap? I hope it is. He's deploying the battery up towards Rouge and Radion, so this will stay on board with this, and hopefully Justin Hurts can get himself away from 17th position and improve on that time, maybe break into the 1-minute 40s, as he sat there in a 41.4, so he's going to need half a second improvement as he's just about to finish the Camel Straight, which will finish his Sector 1. Half a second down, so I don't think this is a push lap for Justin Hurts, as he does invalidate it.
Yeah, so he's invalidated, so it wouldn't have been anyway after he went through Le Com. All of the drivers now will be preparing for their last and final run in this session to decide who's going to take the 1.4 pole. You've got Felipe Souza on an outlap, and he is a reigning F4 champion from a couple of seasons ago as well. So Souza, a very talented driver, had his home race last time out in Sao Paulo, and Felipe Souza was able to get 8th. He was on the podium in Bahrain after the penalty came in for Presakan. Let's see whether he can go and take the podium spot once again, and he'll be looking to go to the top step of the podium if he can. Right now though, Drula Source with 4 minutes to go, so he is out there with a circuit that right now doesn't have much activity on there, so he's got only a few other cars out there on the circuit, so he's pretty much got the road to himself.
Absolutely, it's nice to have nobody in front of you. It helps with visuals, to say the least. However, collisions are off, so you don't need to worry about contacts or impeding. It can be quite distracting for the drivers, even if you go through them. But Felipe Souza, 2/10 up as he finishes Sector 1, coming into Lacombs now, fires it back around to the right. Nice, and Bonnie doesn't take too much curb on his exit, and down into Brussels, looking to get every scrap of time that he can find, really mopping it all together in this lap. His one final run, so it seems I don't know if he will have the time to ever go again with him breaching that 4-minute mark. This track is just so long as he's flat to the floor around Pujon now, keeping it nice and tidy, not running it too wide, very controlled, very focused now into campus.
Absolutely, just looking to keep it clean now. He has had a long lap around the circuit where he's kept it in track limits, where he's been on the attack. You can visibly see it, and he's going 3.5 tenths quicker when he navigates and heads to the 3rd sector. Blanchimont and the bus stop chicane coming up for Felipe Souza, the driver who absolutely requires an improvement. Let's see, how much will the improvement be when he crosses the line? The rest of the drivers starting to head on to outlaps now for their final runs. Souza, though, right now is going to complete his run this time around over the line, and he finds the improvement to 12th. Cannot get into the top 10, but still an improvement for the Brazilian driver.
It's a good place to get him. He doesn't want to be too close to the front, because going into La Source can be a bit treacherous in lap 1, but for the talent on the grid, I think they're going to get through nice and cleanly. So maybe just couldn't find the time, or the setup's just looking a little bit different. I wonder how it's going to play out in the race. Does the weather play to their advantage? Maybe this is a different setup. He's expecting something to happen in the race that may yet to come anywhere else. But we'll go on board with Jerry Van Bussel as he's about to come towards the line. It may be an improvement on that hard compound tyre time. It's not. It looked like it would have been, but he just dropped it on the exit. On that 44.8 on his hard tyre practice runs. He's been going high fuel, practicing on hard tyres. Maybe didn't have the time to get any laps in earlier on. So he's just getting a feel for the track and getting the race pace. Everybody else now coming down towards Sector 2 and Sector 3 to start the timed lap. It will be Buba, who's on more of a one shot here going into La Source, as he does not have a timed lap on the board. But he gets his foot to the floor. Burn a little bit of the battery to get your speed going as you come up towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Keep the car as straight as possible. You cannot risk any resistance on that to drop your momentum and your speed before you open that rear wing on the Camel Straight.
Absolutely. We mentioned high pressure stuff. That is absolutely the case for Buba as he goes attacking now, and he's got some corners ahead of him now in this middle part of the lap. The rest of the drivers also beginning their push laps, but this is going to be Buba just trying his absolute best to get to a decent position, which he can do with when it comes to starting the race, a position that can just get him in the mix. As we mentioned, highest returning driver to this tier this season. He's currently 3rd in the championship, was 2nd in Bahrain, didn't score in Brazil. He wants to be back in the points, he wants to be back on the podium, and he wants to go to the top step of the podium. But let's see what he can do on this lap as he is about to give us a time in this 2nd sector.
is absolutely flying there out of Stavelot and pushing on towards Blanchimont, burning what little of the battery he will have left in that tank as he comes around the double left-hander. That's flat to the floor, no lifts, no nothing, just try and reduce the wind resistance and the aerodynamic load so you don't lose that straight line speed as he comes through turn 19 to finish the lap, finally getting a time on the board, and it's P2, just falls behind his teammate with an Alpine now coming towards the line. Is that Alexander Damas? It is indeed. What sort of pace can Damas pull out in his final run? Is it an improvement? No, only just, and stays exactly where he is before we have what I believe maybe Wojciech Steg and his teammate. Wojciech Steg is invalid and Lighty does not go anywhere else. A Haas next towards the line is that Oleg, does not move anywhere in that field. Next towards the line is Campbell Adams with a pole improvement time, and Atala to finish it off with a 40.3. I saw a prediction in the chat for a 40.3 and I think that's absolutely bang on because Atala has nailed it though with the lap.
He absolutely is. Biega to the front row. That's a great lap time coming in for the Mercedes driver. Here's Thomas Laminen, currently in 12th. Can he find the improvement into the top 10? He can. It's 9th position as we see Marcel behind his teammate. More and more drivers over the line. Korsman to 5th position. Leon is in P6, and there we go, all of the lap times coming to a close. Let's keep an eye on Ryan Grob to see where he can get himself as he will come over the line in his McLaren car now. Let's see, currently in 17th. Where is he going to be once he cuts the beam? It's going to be position improvement up to P16, and there we go. We've had all of the lap times come in. Joe Van Brussel on the hards. He isn't in the same kind of qualifying as the other drivers. He was just pushing on out there on the hard component tires, getting his running in, similar to what he did in Brazil qualifying, but it's been a qualifying session which was close as we predicted. Mr. Corey Brooks and Tony Hatala once again delivers to now give himself a 20-point advantage in the championship.
Absolute scenes. Hatala's championship to lose going into season 39 as he takes his second pole position of the season and sets himself up nicely for 3 in a row. Looking on at Biega, challenging him there in P2, a 10th gap before Campbell Adams, your previous pole sitter, lines up in 3rd. Tudor Presican, Tias Korsman, Leon Buba, Linus Donovan, Wojciech Steg, Alexei Cavero doing your top 10 before we have Tomas Laminen, Oleg Napadovsky, Marcel Paps, the reserve driver, filling in, and Alexander Damas. Felipe Salza, Ryan Grob, Lighty, Justin Ertz and Joe Van Bussel finishing your qualifying grid. Interesting stuff here in qualifying. You see the gaps within a 10th from P1 down to P18. I imagine Van Bussel would have been in that fight though with them, but did a more of a practice session rather than a qualifying session.
Yes, absolutely. So Joe Van Brussel, as I mentioned, doing it in Brazil last time out in this qualifying session, doing it once again. He's just looking to set himself back up for the race to give himself an opportunity when it comes to the 16 points being handed out. We also award a point for the fastest lap. That is if you finish inside the top 10. We're not going to get to the race yet. We're going to have a little bit of a break, of course, as we prepare and get all set with the lobby restart to turn collisions back on and make sure the settings are all ready before we go racing for the 22 lap distance.
Absolutely, but before we get on to that or any of that spicy stuff, we'll talk about standings, pull you up a little graphic. Let's have a quick little word from one of our sponsors. Welcome back to our little commentators corner. We will now have a nice little chat over the standings as I've spoke about quite a few times. Tony Hatala leading 2 victories in a row, but now you can see for yourself displayed on the screen He won in Bahrain. He wins in Brazil. Can he win in Belgium? That 19-point lead, as he gets an extra point for pole position here, becomes 20 points in terms of the gap. So that's a victory and 3 pole positions to try and close that gap back up. Or is it more, actually? It's 16 points, isn't it, per victory?
It is.
So it's more than that. It's more than that. He's getting himself off to a fantastic start, Hizatala. But Tomas Lamanen, the only other driver close enough to potentially challenge before you have 3 drivers with that 20-point gap, all matching on 13 points. Buba, Felipe Salza, Alexander Damas. They could still be within some form of fight, but they just need to make sure they start getting some victories.
Yes, absolutely. If one of the drivers that is currently behind wants to challenge, they're going to need to join Hitala in being the consistent figure at the top. You're always going to get loads of drivers just turning up round to round, which is always great to see. But you have Hitala doing it every single round and then just joined by different drivers all the time. So if anyone wants to beat Hitala to the championship, they'll need to try to do something similar, hope for a bit of bad luck, which at some point you're going to get. You're going to get for Tony Hitala. There will be a moment where it gets a bit too feisty for the drivers out there, and Hitala finds himself in a race making a bit of contact and out of the points, or possibly a race that he maybe cannot make later on this season. There's so many possibilities, but you need to be the driver who is in there to capitalize when opportunities like that arise.
Absolutely. You need to be ready to react to any situation that may fall on your lap in any Grand Prix situation. You know, races happen and the situation can flip in an instant. You don't want to see it, but the potentials for safety cars is always a threat in Grand Prix, and you must implement that in your strategy. When do you think a safety car is to come? When the tyres burn away, lap 1, lap 4, maybe when the fighting starts, something that is unpredictable and that you don't want to see in the race because it damages your race strategy so far. So anything can happen in the races. Hitala's looking strong, but don't forget, a lot can happen. There's 22 laps to go, and it could change in just one corner of those laps.
Yeah, absolutely. It all changes. It all comes down always to the end, and then you get that scenario, where do the drivers want to be placed come the last lap? Loads of drivers will want to be in second in positions like that, but there can only be one driver. You always get a big brawl, and you always get fighting all the way through in the early stages, but the races always come alive after the pit stop. All the way from the pit stop to the end, that's where the drivers know, okay, well, we're in this position, let's see what we can make out of this situation. Then you see drivers going on the attack if you're slightly more lower down, and of course every driver wants to be fighting for the win. If you find yourself a net 4th, a net 5th, you'll want to upgrade that. The drivers who are already there will want to maintain that. That's when we start seeing some of the crazy chaotic 3 wides, 4 wides that we were referencing earlier on, and we come to a circuit that definitely has corners and has straights that can provide that.
Absolutely. It is the longest circuit on the calendar. We cannot stress that enough. The Kemmel Straight is 1 kilometre in length. It is so long that you can maximise your top speed. And then if you've got the DRS with the slipstream and you use your battery deployment as well just to get the acceleration, you can slingshot past. And like we mentioned, crazy moments. 3 wide, 4 wide, through goes Hamilton. Here comes Sebastian Vettel. You know, you've seen it with your own eyes here in Spa. Certainly an iconic track for racing battles and rivalries. Even the moments, the overtakes, the drama and controversy could all fall down here in this iconic track. 7 kilometers to navigate. It's a recipe for disaster or a recipe for perfection for some of these drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had in the F1 Esports Championship a couple of weeks ago, we had Pookie just passing 3 drivers on the last lap down that straight. It was absolutely outrageous, but that's the thing. If you have the battery, if you have the slipstream, if you have the DRS, you can just mug everyone on that final tour, which means that making sure that you're maintaining the battery, it is going to be really, really vital come that last lap. And not only for the Kemmel Straight. As we mentioned, bus stop chicane last lap can get very, very close. Loads of races come down to that bus stop chicane, and we don't have DRS. We've already referenced that earlier, and we don't have DRS at that part of the lap. So what the drivers have to do then is make sure that if you are second and you want to get the slingshot, you want to get the run, you have to make sure that you have enough battery and make sure that you can get the run and give yourself an opportunity down into the bus stop chicane. If not, then you're just going to have to settle for second place and possibly could be under pressure to lose that second to other drivers behind as well who will also want to go on the attack.
Absolutely, you need to be ready and prepared. You cannot afford to go down through Blanchimont without any battery in the tank. You need that reserve. You've got to think the battery is a weapon for overtaking, but it's also a defensive tool needed to defend against drivers that also have it that are not aided with that DRS. If you have a full battery, you have it ready, primed for a defensive tool. The driver behind has been pushing to try and stay with you all the way through the Grand Prix. Say they burn down to their 20%. You lose speed in acceleration because the battery does not have the juice to give you anymore. You may be deploying an overtake, but it's just not the same as having a battery that's sat there at 70%. So prepared drivers ready to all that defense will absolutely pull out a masterclass in that, but it's all about conserving it for Blanchimont. That straight with the slipstream and the battery can bring some nasty moments into bus stop or some absolute amazing overtakes coming through to finish the Grand Prix. And I'm excited to see the way it's going to go down here.
Absolutely. We're already talking about the last lap, but that's how exciting that last lap is. But we've still got plenty of action in the middle. Absolutely incredible racing to come in the middle, and all of the preview to that final tour. So really looking forward to the race getting underway. We appreciate everyone waiting with us once again as we sort out the final few adjustments before we can get the race going. It's been great to see everyone in the live chat and tuning in to our third round here at Spa. We've got a very interesting calendar for you as well coming your way this season. So it's going to be an interesting championship, even if you see Tony Atala be the dominant figure at the top, because every race is going to see him challenged and him tested, which is also good information then for F2 as well next season. And all of the esports teams who are looking to see who could be their next big star, this could be a good opportunity for Tony Atala to prove himself. He's going to be tested, even if he's just going to be the driver at the front for most of it. He's going to have loads of different scenarios with so many different drivers challenging him. It's a great way, it's a great chance to prove yourself for the future.
Absolutely, indeed. It's a good way to get yourself noticed to a potential contender in Tier 2. You've got to think this is the F3. So F2 may be on the cards if you can show that you have the pace to dominate the entire season, win every single round, and prove you have what it takes to challenge those in the higher tiers. It's only nothing but up and up and up from there. But the drivers are now ready. They are at the track, getting their setups ready, their strategies set, and their fuel load primed so they can get going for 22 laps of Spa. And I'm excited to see what is to happen. I'm expecting something to happen straight away on the Camel Straight because of the slipstream, especially you come out of La Source, P2, maybe even P1, P3, maybe even P1 at the end of this lap. It's all down to that 1 kilometre long straight. You won't have the DRS off the start. It will come the lap after, but who's to say that you don't want that position now and to get yourself set up perfectly? If the door is open, you're certainly going to try and go for it. But we're not going to keep you waiting any longer. We're going to go trackside.
Exciting stuff. We of course thank our sponsors at GT Omega, of course, who make all of these seasons possible as well. So definitely go show them some love as well. But yes, Corey, we're getting set. We're getting ready. These are the nervy moments before the action begins, and a bit of frenetic action immediately. Definitely down the Camel Straight.
And here we go. The lights are on. It's 3, 4, 5. The grid is set. Everybody's ready. And the lights are out, it is go, go, go for round 3 here in Spa. It's a good getaway from your pole sitter. Could he be under any attack going into La Source? He's noble. Further behind, we have Oleg Napadovsky and Marcel Paps going side by side. Marcel Paps trying to fight Thomas Lamminen as well. You have Tudor Presican trying under attack from Campbell Adams. Tias Korsman just lining up just behind, looking to get on through, but no open doors as of yet. And now here we come onto the Camel Straight. Orujan Brady on his done. You see the Ferrari there, Leon, looking for an open door, had the run, had the slingshots coming, and it's all fighting down now into Lecombs. Through goes Tudor Presican, looking to fight against Tony Atala, but it's not coming yet. They're still side by side through Lecombe, but Leon got on through. Campbell Adams trying to get a fight on with Tias Korsman as we come down into Brussels. He may lose out to the McLaren here, Linus Donovan. Campbell Adams having a bit of a disastrous start, but Tudor Presican is still bringing the fight to Atala, looking to get that P1 done early, done and dusted. But now everybody calms down, falls back in line for Pujon, and what an opening start.
What a start to the Grand Prix indeed. They're all in a trade as we make our way through. And you can see Korsman currently in 4th position. It's getting super tight. The gaps are incredibly close. You've got Donovan, who was trying to get by in the background of Campbell Adams, who is in 6th position. Frenetic start, one of the more frenetic starts that we have seen so far. Now the slipstreaming begins as we head down towards the Blanchimont corner. They will all be tucking in the slipstream. You've got the two Mercedes attacking our championship leader, Tony Itala, who has P1 only by a 1/10 of a second. As we go down to the bus stop chicane, it's getting very tight on the braking as Pressakan very nearly into the back of Itala, and there is Korsman trying to get by when it turns into a traction race. The Ferrari getting the power down earlier of Leon, who will have the inside line heading down into the source as we go on to lap number 2, and it's the inside line for Leon that should get him the position, with Korsman slotting in still in P5.
Absolutely, and look at the back of the grid, all fighting away, trying to get through on each other, where Felipe Salza side by side with Jerry Van Bussel all the way up towards Eau Rouge and Radion, and Jerry Van Bussel sends it in Eau Rouge, keeping his car in there, and does get ahead of Felipe Salza for the back end of the field. The fighting is all over the place. We have a double move, Hatala losing 2 positions, a side by side go the Mercedes, making a wall into Le Combs. Hatala has nowhere to try and defend or fight back after losing that P1. Oh, there's contact! VSC, the pack has slowed down. Hatala's lost his front right end plate. Oh, that's just disaster there for the Aston Martin. He's going to have to box and get that changed. He won't be able to keep it through the corners here.
Dramatic stuff. Virtual safety car is deployed. Championship leader has got a bit of end plate damage there as well, and that's exactly what we were talking about earlier on. There will be opportunities, there will be moments this season where it can all change around, and it was contact further back for Lighty, who finds himself out of the race. And Lighty, that is going to be him out on the second tour, and that is why we've got the virtual safety car out there as they all tuck back in, and we take a breather after an absolutely unbelievable start. The Mercedes got to 1st and 2nd place, and then they were both battling amongst themselves, and it was action all the way through. And we are right now going to be seeing Tony Atala with a bit of end plate damage, and that is going to change the race and possibly change this championship. Good opportunity for other drivers who are trying to get involved in this battle as we now come towards the end of lap number 2. Not at racing speed, however.
So you can see our biggest losers and biggest winners there. Campbell Adams down 3 places. It's Tudor Pressican who has made 3, and he's now under virtual safety car after what has been a bit of a dramatic start here. But we are waiting to go back to green flags, waiting for the marshals to get rid of that carbon. The DRS enabled, and there's the call. Everybody goes back to racing. 3 drivers getting themselves into the pits to try and swap it out. Hatala expected with that damage. Ryan Grob and Alexander Damas will take a quick little look at what tyres they opt to go on. Hatala, Ryan Grob and Alexander Damas all going on to the medium compound tyre for a medium run now. Will they last to the end though? That's 18 laps they're going to have to complete at least to try and get through. Well, Leon now fighting away with the Mercedes. The Mercedes using team tactics in defence. You see Biega there just blocking the exit line. Tudor Preston keeping his car planted on the racing line, forcing the Ferrari to back out of that manoeuvre.
Absolutely. So Biega hits the front, Pressakan in 2nd place, and then Leon is in 3rd. Korsman, Campbell Adams complete our top 5. You can see in the background you have Thomas Laminin losing a little bit of touch compared to the gaps that we currently have so far, so he'll be looking to close back in as well in what is right now a 12 car lead battle with Justin Ayert's 2.1 seconds away. That's where a lot of the battling, a lot of the chaos was taking place. Everyone underneath Hitala has made they're getting very tight and off the road. Felipe Salza making contact with Jerry Van Bussel, and Bussel is ahead. Salza though off the road along with the Alpine, and that was super tight stuff at a part of the circuit which usually is single file, but it's PSGL, and these two both going for it, and they won't be too happy after that moment.
Absolutely, that's cost them some dramatic time losing out. Now Justin Ertz 1.7 seconds ahead of Jerry Van Bussel. They've lost the DRS, them so we're going to be scrapping away. Mark is asking for the tyres. I did just have them on display. Everybody is on hard compound tyre except for Tony Atala, Dimas and Ryan Grob. They've boxed. Tony Atala having wing damage, needed to get that replaced. Alexander Dimas and Ryan Grob I can only assume had the same. So, yeah, everybody's on hards apart from the bottom 3. They are on medium tyres, only 1 lap old.
Yes, absolutely. As we go back to the battle of the front, and the Mercedes switch positions as Pressacan back to the front of this field, and you can see Felipe Sales also switching positions. There we go, now in our picture, and he's ahead of Jerry Van Bossel as these two do battle for 14th position as well. And you've got Jerry Van Bossel given a penalty for 3 seconds. That's for track limits, as he has went over the white lines 3 times, and that gives the driver a 3-second time penalty that will remain all the way till the end of the race. You cannot serve that penalty in a pit stop compared to some of the other ones you can get for example, speeding into the pit lane.
Absolutely, you do not want to pick up that 10-second penalty. That is absolutely race damaging, depending on the situation. You know, sometimes the in-game penalties can be removed. There is an external steward in office for incidents and for reports for malicious manoeuvres and stuff like that. So time penalties could be seen in the steward's office. They are unofficial results until we have an official result in after stewarding, but you'll see them in race results later down the line. Looking ahead, could we see Leon potentially challenging to get ahead of these Mercedes? He's been trying now for the last lap in lap 4, now onto lap 5. The opportunity is going to come once again. Will the Mercedes go tactical and defend it once again? Will they see them just working together, blocking the line into Lecombe? The Kemmel Straight being the prime overtaking opportunity. Everybody's doing well through Blanchimont. No late sends into the bus stop chicane. But look at the Ferrari committed through Eau Rouge, really getting on the rear tail of Marcel Biega though. Looking to try and push on through. Biega is aided with DRS. He's going to have to sort with his teammate. But maybe the Ferrari is close enough to make it through as well. He is indeed. Tudor Pressacan now sits himself in P3 and the Ferrari is stuck in a Mercedes sandwich. This could be a recipe for disaster. The Mercedes can work together. They are teammates and they are esports teammates as well. So who's to say that the tactics are not certainly coming into play for that team?
Absolutely. You've got Biega and Pressacan both together for the Silver Arrows. You've got Leon in the Ferrari along with Aleski Cavero as well. Cavero, the F5 champion of last season, even though he didn't do half of that season, he joined us due to the 58-point gap he had when he left F5, and that was enough to steal the crown for him in that tier, and that's why he's all the way up here in F3, looking to also be a contender. He is the Ferrari who is under a little bit of pressure from Thomas Laminin, who is at the who's one of the drivers at the rear end of this field. 5th lap right now taking place around this circuit here at Spa, and you've had a great battle between Mercedes, Ferrari at the front of the field. Our championship leader Tony Hitala also has found himself with a bit of front wing damage, so he's had to come in. That's the dramatic twist we were telling you about here in PSGL, as Wojciech Steg moves up to 11th place. He's trying to get past Oleg Napadovsky, those two battling for 11th position, and you can see their single file stuff now, and it's Oleg Napadovsky who's ahead of Steg, who is in P12.
And here we go, up through Eau Rouge and Radion. Is anybody going to try and go for any moves? I expect Tudor Pressacan to try and get himself back in front of that Ferrari. They need to try and stop him from taking the lead, but it will be inevitable as that DRS is so powerful on the Kemmel Straight. But the Mercedes are side by side. They're blocking the line, potentially stopping Tias Korsman from getting on through, and they do so easily. Well, Leon now is starting to bridge a bit of a gap there from that side by side moment. They're not on the optimum line, so they've dropped a couple of tenths. Can Marcel Biega gain then tenths back, not let Leon pull too far ahead? Oh, that was interesting, working together to stop anybody else getting in contention. They want the Ferrari there, they can control that, but anybody else, the Red Bull, then it starts to become a little bit unpredictable. They're trying to keep control of the race. Leo, oh my bad, he said it's got an N on the end. It's Leo, not Leon. He says Leon on the screen, so I was just reading that, my apologies.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, Danica, for the correction as well. I used to commented on him, actually, a while back as well. So, yes, haven't done that in a while. But right now, the drivers navigating their way to the bus stop chicane, and it's getting very, very tight. There's the opportunity. Korsman trying to get by into the bus stop, outside to the inside. Is the Red Bull going to be able to get by? That's the question, as we will come over the line for another lap. He wasn't able to get by, and it means that our pole sitter from last time out, Campbell Adams, fancies the opportunity as well. And here in PSGL, you might be trying to make a move, but the next second you might have to be be on the defense. That's exactly what Korsman was facing, and he still is in P4 after all of that.
Ooh, stays exactly where he is, although did try to get a little bit feisty there, trying to fight on through. He had the door open for Campbell Adams, who tried to push on through, but now you see drivers getting dangerously close. They've got the slipstream, the overspeed, burning a little bit of battery, going for moves. Campbell Adams looking for an outside move. Oh, the Red Bull Matthias Korsman just gets hit by the, well, just hits the rear end of Tudor Prescott. Lucky Tudor to keep that car going in a straight line. The Red Bull squabbling, rear-ended bumper barge by Campbell Adams, but everybody stays in a line. Nobody losing too much time there. Matthias Korsman almost in an unfortunate situation, a disastrous, unfortunate situation for him, but did well to keep himself out of it. He's opened the door for Campbell Adams though to get ever closer, maybe opening up for a move on Blanchimont. We're still waiting for somebody to have the minerals to pull that out. We've only seen one driver try and get an overtake done in the bus stop chicane so far, that being Walter Steg in the Kick-Sauber. So could Campbell Adams be the next driver to look for any overtaking opportunity into the final corners?
That is the question. It's definitely been not the settling in start that we sometimes get. It's been the complete opposite. It's been on the attack. It's been the field shuffling around quite a bit, and drivers looking for opportunities like Campbell Adams having a little sniff, just being large in the mirrors, as in the background as well Buber was close to a move. Laminin, it could give an opportunity to him in the background. The Aston Martin versus the Williams, and it's the Williams who's arrived first in our picture now, because he's moved up to 8th position to Buber, moving down after looking for an attack ahead. And that's the type of switching that we can mention here at PSGL that we usually do get as the Mercedes super close together. Is there going to be the opportunity for Tador Pressakan? These two have already gone side by side. They'll both be closing in on the Ferrari as we run down the Kemmel Straight, and here we go, 3 wide for the lead momentarily we go. They're both going to get past the Ferrari, and it's going to be Biega ahead of Pressakan. Then it's Leo in 3rd position, Adams and Korsman still our top 5.
Yeah, lots of fighting there, only lap 8, so it makes me wonder, when are these guys looking to maybe opt for a box or any sort of strategy coming into play? We see the moves coming, but everybody's sort of settled into a pace, looking on tyre management now as we go into lap 8 in sector 2. Not so many moves as we saw from the start of the race, everybody's just being patient. Oh, there's a moment there from T.S. Korsman. Oh, is that just a run from Linus Donovan? Beautiful Pujon there. You could see the speed he was gaining, but does slot back in line. Does not want to risk losing any time trying to go for any moves in a place that's a little bit unorthodox, a place that you don't expect to see overtakes. But T.S. Korsman struggling with the rear there, a little bit of a tank slapper, kicking that car out to the left-hand side, but controlled it very well.
Absolutely. Right now, that was super tight stuff. Donovan absolutely pushing Korsman through Puon. Such a quick corner. Will he be pushing him when we get down? Sending a late lunge. That is late stuff on the brakes. Selling the dummy. Trying to get the move done when he will get on the power. But once again, Korsman's going to hang on to that position. The usual switching that we get is exactly what we are seeing. That is Oleg Napadovsky with a move and with an inch to the inside. Trying to get it slowed down. Trying to not make contact with his teammate down at Haas, getting on the power. Buber will have the position, and then we'll go back to single file as we go through a rouge as the drivers get close up towards the wall and then go through these famous few corners in motor racing. And let's see as Pressakan pulls to the outside line. Nice and simple move as these two trade the lead at the front on lap number 9.
Interesting to see Leo though, just sat there waiting, was not pushing to try and get on through or get in between that Mercedes sandwich. He's just weighing up his rivals ahead. See, there's a mental component to these races. You've got to think about that. You need to learn how the drivers ahead or your rival ahead of you is driving in this scenario. You need to think of how you can outdo them and beat them, and that only comes with analysing the lines, going lap after lap and waiting for the best opportunity. You start to figure out where the time is to attack, where you're faster, where they struggle, and then it's all to play for in the end stint. But for now, on lap 9, still currently in the first stint for all of these drivers, bar the bottom 3 that have done a pit stop already. They could theoretically go to the end, but I doubt the medium compound tyre will go that long, so maybe they have yet to box once more. But for now, Tudor Pressakan leading the field with Leo lurking behind, still looking good for the race victory. Very close to those Mercedes who have controlled this race all the way through.
We go then. Leo just getting close and tucked in behind the bus stop chicane. It always can get a little bit cluttered down there as they all get on the brakes. So many drivers, especially when they all close in. You'll see more of that when the drivers have got through the pit stop phase as well. Later on, we're on lap number 10, about to get to half race distance. We've got yellow flags out. That could be Marcel and Oleg Napadovsky. Both Hasses dropping down momentarily, but it looked like it was a moment for Marcel. Oleg Napadovsky continuing on, but possibly some issues going on. Marcel has continued, but that's not what he would have wanted. It's lost him time off his teammate and off the train as well. It's getting close. It's getting close, but they all behave themselves as they head down through Lacombe and now through these next few corners as well. Campbell Adams just right now running in fourth, waiting for his opportunity. That's the case for Korsman, for Donovan, for Carrero, Buba, Laminin, Wojciech and Oleg Napadovsky, as we've already mentioned as well.
So you can see there the Mercedes as they came to Lacombe. Marcel Biega ready to defend but not going for the overtake on his teammate. They are working together to keep the control, to maintain all balance in this race. If the Ferrari was to attack, Marcel Biega's just etching out a lane a little bit, ready to lunge on his own teammate and make that Mercedes wall once again in Lacombe. So this is an interesting Grand Prix to say the least. They're doing anything they can to stop Leo from getting back in front.
That is exactly right now. The aim.
Oh, here it is!
Gonna go for it into Blanchimont. Fast part of the circuit coming up to the inside. It's getting super tight. They both keep it pinned to the floor. And Biega is still going to be in second place. That was a huge risk. And you can see how close it was when they made their way through that part of the circuit, and then they finally went back to single file. But yes, Leo went for it there as yellow flags back out. Another moment for Marcel on the circuit.
It is. He's trying to get himself into the pits, possibly picking up that wing damage. But that there in Blanchimont is what we have been waiting for. The one part of the circuit that is not DRS aided. It's all down to how you manage the battery to burn it away and push on through and pull on an overtake. Before DRS was a thing, that's all you could do. Before you had the KERS system going way back when, you just had to line yourself up. And there's a send from Leo to get himself back into P2. Manages to get back into that Mercedes sandwich, but now needs to get on through against Marcel Biega. Will it happen in Blanchimont? He tried for it once on Biega, couldn't get on through. They swapped around tactically on the Camel Straight. He's now in P2. Is he going to line himself up for it once again?
Yes, will he set himself up? Of course, now he's the driver in second. Now he's the driver tucked in behind, so he'll get the opportunity to go on the attack, and he'll probably be able to do it easily with the DRS down the Camel Straight. Pressakan will be desperate to get back in front as well. He's the driver who finished first on the road, did Pressakan in Bahrain after winning the drag race to the line, compared to Hitala, but after penalties that were changed. What have you spotted, Corey?
Hatala's fell down to P10. He's had a moment there in either Campus or coming towards Stavelot. He's down in P10. It's now Marcel Biega left alone. The Mercedes tactics that once were are no more. It's for Leo now to try and get back ahead of that Mercedes. You can no longer use your teammate to defend. Biega is all alone. He disconnected. Screen freeze. Screen freeze, we've been told in the chat. That is so unfortunate for Pressakan. It's now put him all the way down out of the points and out of contention for what could have been victory.
A big moment. An unfortunate moment. I was just mentioning, of course, about the penalty that he had that sent him from first down to 11th in Bahrain. And that will be another moment to forget for Pressakan. As you can see the Ferrari closing in, getting by as he'll go down to Lacombe as the new race leader. Leo makes the move. And now it's back to Ferrari, Mercedes. And then you have the Racing Bulls ahead of the Red Bull. Then it's the McLaren. And then you finally get to a repeat driver in the same team. You get Carrero in 6th. But yeah, a big moment. An unfortunate moment for Pressakan. And that'll be another moment to forget in his campaign this season as Justin Ayertz makes the move for P15 ahead of Ryan Grob.
So still at the back of the field, still making moves. Everybody's looking to fight on, and Pressicun's come out of the box on the fresh medium compounded tyre. He's fighting it with Hatala. Go through he goes. That was a much needed position, because if Hatala's in any sort of contention to get back up the field, he needs to be ahead of him. Being the championship leader, cannot risk him getting any more points and to jump further ahead in the championship. So that was needed for Pressicun. But Hatala being down in P14, he's not really in any contention yet.
Absolutely. Well, those two got very close together, did Pressicun and Itala. As we mentioned, of course, we referenced their battle at Bahrain all the way to the line. They came to blows once again around this circuit. Now it's time for the pit stop phase. In the background, you can see them all going into the pit lane. Biega, Adams, Donovan, Carrero, Buba, Laminin, Napodowski also in as well. Leo, Korsman and Wojciech Steg go round once again. But now, Corey Adam Brooks, it's time for the interesting phase of the race. It's time for the pit stops. We've already had so much action. It's just going to get better now as these drivers all put on the new set of tyres. And with that, we provide you with the tyre graphic.
Absolutely, you can see the lap age between those that have already boxed and those that are now boxing. Pressicun at 1 lap old, Justin Ertz 2 lap old, Ryan Grob, Alexander Damas, Tony Atala 10 lap old mediums, 12 laps for the hard runners. The front 4 currently pulling away as everybody starts to get themselves going again and generate that tyre temperature, that much needed temperature. I think we have battles going down on the Campbell Straight. We do indeed. Linus Donovan fighting away with Tudor Pressicun. Pressicun is right back there in that fight. That pit stop has put him in a monumental place. He's right back there within the fight of everybody.
It has indeed, definitely. Tudor Pressicun. Of course, it's a long lap around Spa. A lot more time to generate the tyre temperature and get everything going compared to some of the other circuits. It does also mean, though, that pitting 1 lap early does give you a little bit more tyre wear as well compared to other circuits, so it kind of goes in your favour, kind of doesn't at the same time with how that works as well. The 1 lap difference, and when the drivers are so close, those lap differences can be the determining factors to who becomes our victor in today's race, and all of the positions that follow as well. Leo, Korsman and Steg now diving into the pit lane. Will be interesting to see where they filter out.
Absolutely, we'll take a quick little look at where they are now as Jerry Van Bussel is the one to come towards the line, stay out another lap before Campbell Adams behind comes down the finish line to start lap 14, going down towards the source, does jump ahead of everybody else. You see them dropping tremendous positions. That undercut is huge. Oh my word. Look at how far down they have fell down the order. They fall back in. Well, Hatala down in 12th. Tudor Pressicun is in the best position. He's really got himself back into this fight, into contention, boxing when he needed to. After that bit of a disconnect, that bit of an issue that saw him in P10, he's right back there within the fight.
He absolutely is as well. Time for some more moves going around the outside. So you've got one Ferrari on the attack. The other one of Carrera also trying to make the move as well. He was up against Pressicun, couldn't do it. As he went into Lecom, can he do it? A couple of corners later, he's got the inside line and trying to keep his foot in is going to be Pressicun on the outside. But the Ferrari, the Scarlet Ferrari moves up through and moves up to 5th position at this stage of the race. And it's all getting pretty frenetic. Ryan Grob, just for information, is also our 3rd retirement. He retired in the pit lane last time around.
Absolutely, huge battles needed to be done early on before those tyres get into a bit of a rough state. You need to get to a tyre management mode for the final closing laps, but now guarantee yourself the track position as we still stay on board with Tudor Pressicun. Could he be under attack from Leo behind? He is looking to bridge a bit of a gap there on the exit of Stavelot. Turn 15 has done the Mercedes well, but here comes Leo looking to burn a little bit of the battery. T.S. Korsman looking to get it very, very close to the behind Boba there. Well, could the Ferrari go for a lunging bus stop? He's going to try for it. He's done it once before. He's going for it again. Slight contact between the two. Well, look at Buba fighting against T.S. Korsman. He may get the move here, but the inside line is granted to T.S. Korsman to defend it into La Source. Will he be able to defend it hard against the Aston Martin? They're still side by side on exit. T.S. Korsman in the better position, looking to get the traction down a little bit better, but they are still side by side. It looks like Bubba's going to pull on through as we get to Eau Rouge. Wow, nice little fight in there.
Absolutely synchronized moves as we went into the bus stop chicane. It continues now as Leo is getting past Tador Pressakan. That will at least be his aim when he applies the anchors when we get down to Lacombe, and that is absolutely exactly the case as well. While that battle was going on down the start finish straight, I just saw Jerry Van Bussel absolutely lose it in the pit lane entry as well. So he is also our fourth retirement of the race, not going his way today, and he'll be looking to try and fight back next time out when we go racing in Shanghai as well. But we're on the 15th tour out of 22. Laps are ticking by. We're heading into the final stages, and this is where the drivers will start positioning themselves, and they'll be positioning themselves all ready for what will be a thrilling end to this race here at Spa.
Absolutely, it's a long game of chess in a way. The drivers set themselves up for the end game. You think of these early overtakes as pawns. I'll take that position, you take that position, I'll move ahead on you, I'll move here, get there, get yourself lined up, and then you get yourselves ready for that last lap, that penultimate lap, the checkmate that is yet to come. But for now, we get ourselves going on lap 16, 7 laps of racing to go, including this one. It's going to get spicy, but this is where you need to manage tyres a little bit. You've got them warmed up, got them into that optimum window. You do not want to burn them away too quickly when they're going to be needed most.
Yeah, absolutely. That is exactly the aim for the drivers in this field as well. We right now see Linus Donovan closing right onto the back of Marcel Biega. This could be an overtake that comes our way. They've both got the barn door open. They've both got DRS, and they're both going to be getting closer to Campbell Adams. But can we see the move around the outside for Linus Donovan? We can indeed, as he takes second place on the road at the moment, and he gets past the Mercedes of Marcel Biega, who falls down to third. You've got the two Ferraris together on the circuit of Aleski Cavero, who is ahead of his teammate Leo, and then we have Preskan, Buber, Korsman, Wojciech and Thomas Laminin. Those are all of the drivers who are in this train, and all of the drivers battling at the front of the field as Dimas has been given a 3-second time penalty for track limits.
Oh, a couple drivers picking up those track limits, but those who have retired from the Grand Prix. You see the DRS train up P1 down to P8, where Wojciech has that 2-second gap, but could be under attack from Tomas Laminen later on in the Grand Prix. You see sort of floating there, just waiting behind. But looking further ahead is Tias Korsman, who could potentially have a run towards Blanchimont. We've been waiting for these sort of moves to come and happen, but Buber's going to go for it as well. So are the Ferraris. The Ferraris are swapping positions. Buber gets on through on Pressakan. Tias Korsman is side by side as we come towards the bus stop chicane, but so are the Ferraris side by side into bus stop. Is Pressakan going? Is Tias Korsman going to get on through? Pressakan does not defend it too hardly. Korsman's through. Leo is through on Alexi Cavero. The moves coming into bus stop are starting to come on the medium compound tyre now. They feel a bit more confident with those extra grip levels.
They absolutely do indeed. That was more moments on the chip when we headed down to those corners, and look how close it's getting. Aleski Carrera basically pushing Leo through the Rouge corner there, and you can see that he's tucking in. Oh, we're going to see the move this time completed. He's to the inside, but we're going to try and keep his footing all the way around the outside. It's going to get tight stuff between these two Ferrari drivers as Leo still got it. Carrera's got the inside line, and they very nearly came to blows. The Ferraris nearly coming together. Carrera just about controlling the car in the background. That's tight. That's super tight between Korsman and Buber, and it's Korsman who's got it in the Red Bull, and he is in P6. And Corey, we're getting to that phase of the race where those battles are getting even more feisty, where they're taking it to different parts of the circuit where usually you wouldn't want to at this stage, but right now they're all getting themselves ready and set for the final stages, which will come even before you know it, really.
Absolutely. So you've also got to take into consideration the fact that unorthodox opportunities will come your way. You don't want to risk time loss going side by side in corners that don't necessarily handle it. You will lose tense worrying about staying away and causing contact with the driver that you are attacking. So even though the door may be open, going for it may not be the best move in terms of time loss. You see Tias Korsman almost a second behind Cavero after they were battling away with Buber. Tudor Preston just waiting behind for his opportunity, but TS Korsman managing to pull back a couple of tenths. It's not a lot, still floating within the cusp of losing DRS potential. That defensive aid which he will need against that Aston Martin. We're looking ahead now on the field as we come up towards Eau Rouge and Radion. Will we see another move as we have 5 racing laps to go if you include this one?
Absolutely. That is exactly what we have still to come for you. What we could have to come for you is an overtake from Booba gets by. Easy stuff there as we saw these drivers lose the 1 second. For our top 5, it is still right now in formation stuff as Campbell Adams looking to try and take a big advantage. He's the driver currently in 6th position in those standings as well. Linus Donovan also looking to try and push on, and as you have Hitala down in 13th, all of the drivers know that there's a big opportunity when it comes to the championship, and we were literally mentioning it, Corey, how there will be off days, how there will be moments where Hitala is involved in contact, and basically about 20 minutes later he was involved in some contact, and the opportunity is there. And now who is those drivers who we were referencing earlier on that will be able to capitalize on it?
Absolutely. Tony Hitala out of the points. This is very much needed for the rest of the field to come back and claw their way back into contention. Thomas Laminen being the closest by just a point over 3 other drivers in contention for challenging against the championship. There are 3 drivers level on points, but looking on towards bus stop chicane, I was expecting a move to come there. Not yet. Everybody getting dangerously close together, maybe setting themselves up for the Camel Straight. You see the train is not yet broken. TS Korsman still floating within the cusp of DRS, does pick it up for this lap of lap 19. We are yet to get going and conclude the Grand Prix. Still getting ready for the end game. The game of chess is yet to elapse. Any overtakes to come through or coming up on the Camel Straight as everybody gets the slingshots now and goes for that overspeed using the slipstream and DRS out of Radion onto the Camel Straight. We go, the Ferraris looking mighty fine. Leon looking for an overtake. 3 drivers going for it. There you go. A triple move. Campbell Adams leaving 4 positions. Linus Donovan and Marcel Biega going side by side, and Leo looking for a capitalistic move. The door was open, but all he's done is open the door once again for Campbell Adams to bring it down into Brussels and maybe even into Jackie X. But it looks like Leo in the Ferrari is able to keep his footing, managing to keep that P3. That could have been disastrous. Campbell Adams still dropping 4 positions, but there are still 3 racing laps to go.
Absolutely. Still 3 racing laps to go. Still laps for these drivers to switch their positions. But if you are going to battle hard for second, you need to consider the risk of Donovan pulling away. That's going to be Biega and Leo both needing to push through these next few couple of quarters, deploy some of the battery to be closed in, making sure that they do get the DRS and the rear wing open as well, so they have to definitely consider that when they go battling, and it's definitely something that will be playing over the driver's mind, but they'll all know that they also need to improve their positions if they want to be in contention as well. As here we go, Leo closing in, does he go for it down the outside? He's going to sit in behind, so exactly what we were talking about. It's super tight. There was loads of drivers running in deep. That was Buba up against Korsman, who was thinking about it in the Red Bull. On to the 20th lap we go of this race. This is where it's about to get really, really interesting in these final 3 laps of racing, including this one that we have to go. Leo looks like he's going to have a good run. It will be a good battle for second place, and they'll also be gaining and using this as a big opportunity to get closer to Linus Donovan. So does Leo make the move now out of the slipstream right when we open the rear wing? He's using the battery. He's going to be going by. Can he also get past the McLaren? And you can see Biega in the second phase now. He's going to get the inside line, looking to take the lead, now looking to maintain second place for Biega. Both options weren't possible, as is Donovan still with the lead as Leo moves up to second place, Biega in third, and Campbell Adams still in P4. That's very nearly Biega losing it. Very nearly Biega losing the car, as Campbell Adams now also tries to make the move as well. It will be bold around the outside. You'll have to sit him behind, but these guys have to be careful to try and stick with Leo and Donovan.
Absolutely, you see the gap starting to open up between the front 2 and Marcel Biega. After he had that little bit of a moment, he is still within half a second, still going to benefit from the DRS as long as he can keep himself collected, coming through Campus and Stavelot. He needs to get himself back up closer, ever closer, because we're about to start the penultimate lap. Now, which lap will be beneficial? Where do you want to be in P2? Do you want to be behind on lap 22, the start of lap 22, so you can benefit from the Camel Straight? But we've called it out so many times. hand. Blanchimont, if you have the battery in reserve and you can get that slipstream round these double left turns, you can get yourself sending into the bus stop chicane. We've seen it, and we may see it from Campbell Adams. He doesn't. He has a little look. Oh, maybe there's an open door. It's not coming just yet. They now get themselves ready to start the penultimate lap of the race. Lap 21 of 22. This is where the drivers set themselves up. This is where the most positions are needed. Tias Korsman into the source, looking to get through on 1. Can he make it through on 2? No, he cannot. He can barely get it through on 1. Buber stays and maintains that position. Tias Korsman stays in P7. We look back to the front of the grid. Is anybody else looking to challenge through on the penultimate lap? Or are they just going into that battery recharge state, getting themselves ready for the final lap? Things are going to start to elapse here on 21 of 22.
Oh, well, they're all using this to close in. Donovan got the gap down to 7/10. That is absolutely not what Leo or any of the drivers in behind can have when we tick down over to the 22nd and final tour. They've got to be careful. They've got to make sure that they charge the battery up. They make sure that they have a good opportunity and they have the run. Remember, we mentioned as well when we head down towards Blanchimont and the bus stop chicane, there's no DRS on that part of the circuit. If it changes on the Kemmel Straight, you will need enough battery to try and take the place back when we head down to the final corners on the last lap. So much at play, so many strategy decisions need to be made at this stage, and it's all going to go by very quickly around this circuit. And you can see Donovan snapping away with the rear as he makes his way now down this back straight. How much close can Leo get? He'll need to try stick with Linus Donovan, and does he make the move down the Kemmel Straight? Because we know that Donovan has had a great chance to pull away through the middle sector. If Donovan can pull away in the middle sector again on the last lap, it could be done. So does Leo make the move now down the Kemmel Straight, Corey, as we are about to go onto the 22nd and final lap at Spa?
Absolutely, it is very much needed. You see Leo waiting behind. He cannot risk to go any moves into La Source, into turn 1. He needs to set himself up, coming through Eau Rouge, where he will hit that DRS detection point, and he does line up 2/10 gap behind, but we know Linus Donovan's having a masterclass in Sector 2. Does he have the battery to defend with the DRS on this 1 kilometre long straight? It's going to be easy. Look at the speed from the Ferrari, right up on the rear tail, using the slipstream, the slingshot that he got before the rear wing was even open. Now it's Linus Donovan. Will he be under attack from the Mercedes behind the Biega? He's not, but through goes Leo, setting himself up perfectly. Now it's for Linus Donovan to recharge that battery but not lose out too much time. He cannot afford to slow down. He cannot afford to lose any time. He needs to stay right within the cusp of Leo ahead. It's Ferrari versus McLaren. Donovan versus Leo. Who is going to be the one to come out on top? They're going through in Sector 2 now. They've just finished with Jackie X and down towards Pujon. This is where things are going to get interesting. It is the final lap. The move needs to come in Blanchimont. If not, the bus stop chicane, or Linus Donovan will not take the victory that he thought he would take. He bridged the gap in the earlier final laps, but in lap 22 he has been passed.
Absolutely, these two powerhouses of Formula One, McLaren versus Ferrari, here on the last lap, and on the last few couple of corners, we're going to debate who's going to win the third race of the season. Linus Donovan has to deploy all the battery. He'll be closing in with every meter. Then we head towards the Blanchimont corner, which is basically now, and it'll be the bus stop chicane, which will be the final chance on the last lap. Looks like Leo has got it unless there's a late lunge on the last lap, and you can see Linus Donovan thought about it. It's going to be a battle for third place, but out of the final corner, Leo crosses the line to take the win here at Spa. It's going to be side by side to the line in the battle for third, and it's Biega who's going to get it ahead of Adams, and then it's Carrera in fifth. Donovan was not able to get close enough at the end, Corey. He has to settle for second place, and it was all going to be about whether he could get close enough, whether he would have the battery. He didn't have enough battery to make the move at the end, and it means that Ferrari are victorious with Leo here at Spa.
Absolutely. Now just look at the delta between 4 and 5. You mentioned about a drag race to the line. It was not for race victory, but it certainly was for the podium. Campbell Adams, Alexi Cavero trying to chase down Marcel Biega. Look at how close that came down to the wire. The line comes very, very quickly out of turn 19, out of the bus stop chicane, but they just couldn't get there quick enough. Alexi Cavero could have had that P4, but it did not come in time. Buber lines up in P6 with Tias Korsman, Tudor Prescott, Volter Steg and Lammen doing the top 10. What a Grand Prix you have seen before you. What a very interesting race that I've seen. I love Belgium for racing, not so much for driving. I do struggle for time here when I do my little area of league races, not to the talent or the level that you see before your screen. I'm nowhere near good enough. That's why I'm a commentator instead. But what an action-packed race. What a display of talent you've seen before you for the F3 drivers. And for Hatala, that lead has been diminished, absolutely dropped. And it's looking like it could be a comeback into the first half of the season.
Absolutely, and these races are just absolutely brilliant. As you mentioned, Corey, while we're not the talents of these drivers, it's honestly a joy to be able to commentate on them. The goosebumps that we get on the last lap when they're pushing so hard, when they're going right to the edge, it's just absolutely phenomenal to watch. And these guys never fail to disappoint, no matter what racetrack we go to.
Absolutely. You can see your finishing order once again with a top 10. Leo, Linus Donovan, Marcel Biega, Campbell Adams, Alexi Cavero, Buber, Tias Korsman, Tudor Preskin, Volcher Steg, and Tomas Laman. And Justin Ertz finishing outside of the points with Felipe Salza, Hatala, Alexander Demas, Napadovsky, Jerry Van Bussel, Ryan Grob, Marcel Paps, and Leite. And we now take you to our interview room to see if anybody would like to come for a quick little chat about the Grand Prix. Oh, that was exciting.
It absolutely was. It absolutely was, and it's honestly great to watch, and it takes us back to also being fans as well. We might be commentators, but we're fans of this style of racing. We absolutely love. We're on the edge of our seat as well. I'm standing all the time, and I'm walking up and down in my little commentary box area as well when these races are taking place. And yes, we hope that we're going to be able to speak to some of our drivers as well to understand what happened in their race, because we're covering 20 drivers in total most of the time, and there's a lot that goes on, there's a lot that we miss, but it's always great to get the insight of what the driver was going through with their engineer as well. It's always interesting to hear what they made of the race and anything else that we weren't able to tell as well.
Absolutely correct, my friend. What a Grand Prix we have seen before. Some drivers struggled in qualifying. Some drivers got themselves into an unfortunate situation. A lot of invalidation seen here in Spa, but the lap is just so long that it happens. It can happen easy. It's just one corner mistake, and if you run wide and out of the white lines, that lap time will be deleted. And for the likes of who was it that didn't do a lap until the final one? It was in P19 for a while. I can't even remember. There's so much action that goes on in these races. We don't even remember what happens in qualifying half the time. We need to pull up graphics and look at what actually happened, because you see before your very eyes the action, the carnage, the chaos, the strategies, the battles, the team tactics between the Mercedes, to say the least. It all falls to play. I don't think we're going to get any interviews. We see some declines. Nobody's going to come for a chat, but that is us done and dusted for round 3 in Belgium. We get ourselves a nice little week break where the drivers can recharge their batteries before we head over to round 4 in Shanghai. Now, turn 1, 2, 3, and 4, my eyes are going to be absolutely all over. Very fast flowing corners, almost no braking until you get to the little screw pin. Is it? Yeah. Screw cork, that's the word I'm looking for. I struggled to find it there. The screw cork area coming back down through the first sector. So it could get dangerous. Some overtakes to the outside are expected in Shanghai, China, coming through turn 1, because you then benefited with the inside line as you come back around that corkscrew. It's going to be fantastic.
It absolutely is as well, and that was an absolutely box office round of PSGL action. We cannot wait for it at Shanghai once again, where it's just going to be as exciting, where it could be another battle down to the last few corners. Well, the back straight is the main opportunity, so we know that it's going to come down to the last few corners. It could then continue all the way through, and then down the hill to the line. Well, we keep previewing the drag races to the line, but I mean, we're getting it. Every single race is just absolutely unbelievable. I'm absolutely loving this season of PSGL racing. Of course, a huge thanks to our sponsors, as per usual, at GT Omega, and of course all of the admin staff and league staff, and of course for the drivers, they've really put in some great attendance this season. And looks like, Corey, we've got Linus Donovan waiting for us in the interview. We might not be just done yet.
Oh, we do have a driver joining us. Linus Donovan does join us. I think P2 there.
Yes, it was P2, yeah.
P2 finishing absolute fantastic racing towards the end. Could have been the race victory, but in the end, that DRS costing you, and it was all down to the final couple of corners trying to fight it back, but the 10s just seemed to slip away. Oh, what a Grand Prix. Let's have your take on that. How was the race from your perspective, from the driver's perspective? How were you feeling about the strategy calls?
Yeah, so the start was pretty clean. I was just focused on keeping it clean and not doing any stupid shit before the pit stop rounds. And me and my engineer made a good strategy to be net P3 out of the pit. And from there on, it was basically just a game of trying to be P2 or P1 to secure the podium. And yeah, in the end, Leonardo played it well with holding me hostage in the lead and him having the DRS. So I couldn't do much on the final laps, but yeah, I'm happy with the result after having some unfortunate races.
Well, it was a good race from your perspective and a good finishing position, to say the least. Getting yourself in a good points gap to claw back at what is a 20-point gap, which will now diminish from Hatala, who's had that double victory round 1 and 2.
Yeah.
But now, as we get going into the halfway point of the season, almost going into round 4, you can't class it as the halfway until you finish it, because of the fact that we have 9 rounds, not 10, so it's an odd number, a bit confusing. But as we get ready for the halfway point of the season, are you feeling confident that you could claw back some points?
I mean, I hope so. Yeah. Next week I'm not gonna be there, but for the rest of the season I should be there, and I think my raw pace is decent. I just need to get the races together like today and get some consistent results, and I'm sure I can catch back up to maybe a top 3 or something. But yeah, it depends on a lot of things. Time will tell.
Absolutely fantastic. Oh, mate, any questions from you from our P2 sitter?
Well, of course, you mentioned that you won't be here next week when we go racing around Shanghai, but after that we have Austria, Britain, Singapore, Mexico, and Abu Dhabi to go as well. Is there a specific track that you are looking forward to and that you could do particularly good at?
Let me put up the calendar. I think like both Austria, Britain, and Mexico are decent tracks for me. So I think all the tracks are decent. Not any of the tracks I dislike. So yeah, it's gonna be good, I think.
It definitely is. It definitely is. Well, thank you very much, Linus Donovan, for speaking to us. And we're also lucky to have our race winner. It looks like he's gained a couple of, he's gained a couple of tenths. He's gained a bit more pace after a little name change. It's Leonardo Tornolato.
Yeah.
How are we doing, my friend? You took the victory and you was in the fight all the way through the Grand Prix. We saw the team tactics with the Mercedes trying to keep you behind. We were looking like somebody who was definitely well within contention for victory, and the victory was inevitable. How was your qualifying there? Because as we know, Hatala taking that pole position. I can't remember where you did qualify. So let's have a little rundown of that. Are you struggling early on, or maybe the tyre temperatures has not come into effect, as we did see it was a little bit cloudy out there at the start of qualifying?
I mean, not really tight temps. It was just me being bad. First lap I did 41.0, I think, which was kind of embarrassing. Then I was like P16 until the last lap, because let's not say why, I'm just bad. Then I just managed to get a clean lap together, half decent lap, and got P6. From there, then I just was able to manage the race at the beginning. Made, I think, 2 moves lap 1, and then Tony got damage, and from there, just was all in control.
Absolutely, a fantastic running from yourself, and of course just using that strategy to perfection in the final lap, staying behind, waiting for the right time to use the DRS on the Campbell Straight, get yourself into the lead. Then it was all just defensive from there to make sure that you kept Linus Donovan behind. It was Ferrari versus a McLaren. It was a nice fight to see. We've seen it in real life in some of the actual rounds in the 24 season, but now we look forward to the 25 season to start. And of course we have this little short calendar to come. So any races you're excited for? Anything you may see clawing back for another victory? We have Shanghai coming up next, and then Austria before we finish our halfway point.
Well, I'm gonna actually miss both of them.
Oh,
Because yeah, next week test week, then week later it'll be school trip. So yeah, unfortunately I have to miss them. No, not really unfortunately, because yeah, it's F124, but still, won't have chances to get more points. But I mean, it's okay. It's 4 more races left, I think, after those 2 on the calendar for this game.
yeah.
So yeah, happy it's getting to an end because this game has been absolutely, I think, for everyone atrocious. But yeah, surely I can. I'm looking forward to Mexico. This game has been one of my best tracks for sure.
Well, it's been a very good showing from yourself, and I'll pass you on to Omi for any questions, and congratulations on the victory here today.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations. And I wanted to quickly know, of course, as you mentioned, you're going to be missing the next 2 races. But after that, when you do return, of course, it would be a bit too late for the championship or anything like that. But what would be your goals and ambitions? And what would you like to take out of the final few races of the season and of the game as well?
To be honest, that's a tough question. Good job on that. um, I don't know. Probably don't get damaged lap 1 in both races like I did in the first 2. I mean, it's always nice to, like, if I race, at least being in contention, having clean fights, not just get damage lap 1, get pissed, close everything, and yeah. I mean, I'm just looking forward to have fun. Then for F125, probably gonna be a different story. But yeah, for the season, I'm just trying to keep it clean and have fun on track. Hopefully with pace.
Brilliant stuff. Well, great to see you fighting at the final and also taking the victory. Best of luck, and we look forward to seeing you back on the circuit later on in the season as well.
Yep. Thank you.
And that is all. We have nobody else waiting in the interview room. Our P3 will not be joining us. But that is it for this week. Like I said earlier on, you know where to come back for next week's racing action as we get ourselves ready for Shanghai, China. The halfway point will be when we finish that Grand Prix. 9 rounds this season, bit of an odd number, so it's hard to calculate exactly when you can class the halfway point. But from me and Omi, that is all for now. Thank you for joining us for round 3 of the F3 Championship of season 39.